An older man is finally able to leave the Soviet Union in the late 1980s for the first time in his life. His wife and son have already left and settled in the States, and he's finally able to go and join them. On his way out through the Soviet border, the guard looks through his luggage and finds a bust of Lenin. "What is this?" he asks. "Don't ask me what this is. Ask me who this is." "This is Vladimir Lenin, the great hero who fought for the rights of the people in our country, and I'm bringing him with me to remind myself to continue that battle in America." The guard lets him through, and he is able to go on the plane to America. Once he arrives, the American border guard goes through his luggage and finds the bust of Lenin. "What is this?" he asks. "Don't ask me what this is. Ask me who this is." "This is Vladimir Lenin, the fiendish monster who destroyed my beautiful homeland. I am bringing him with me to remind myself of the mistakes of the past." The guard lets him through, and he is able to go into the country, where he takes a taxi to the house where his wife and son are staying. After reuniting with them, the son sees the bust of Lenin and asks, "Papa, who is this?" The man smiles and says, "My son, don't ask me who this is, ask me what this is. This, my son, is 18 pounds of gold." A Czech guy caught a goldfish and was given 3 wishes in return for its life. "What do you want?" asked the little fish. "I want China to occupy Czechia and then return home." "Okay, and what is your second wish?" "I want China to occupy this country again and then return home." "Okay, and your final wish?" "I want China to come again and occupy Czechia and then to return." "Okay, granted. But why do you want China to occupy your country?" "I don't really want that, but I want them to run over Russia 6 times. A country preacher had a teenage son, and it was time the boy should give some thought to choosing a profession. Like many young men, the boy didn't really know what he wanted to do, and he didn't seem too concerned about it. One day, while the boy was away at school, his father decided to try an experiment. He went into the boy's room and placed on his study table 4 objects: a Bible, a silver dollar, a bottle of Jack Daniels, and a Playboy magazine. "I'll just hide behind the door," the preacher said to himself, "and when he comes home from school this afternoon, I'll see which object he picks up. If it's the Bible, he's going to be a preacher like me, and what a blessing that would be. If he picks up the dollar, he's going to be a businessman, and that would be okay, too. But if he picks up the bottle, he's going to be a no-good drunkard, and Lord, what a shame that would be. And worst of all, if he picks up that magazine, he's going to be a skirt-chasing bum." The old man waited anxiously and soon heard his son's footsteps as he entered the house, whistling and heading for his room. The boy tossed his books on the bed, and as he turned to leave the room, he spotted the objects on the table. With curiosity in his eye, he walked over to inspect them. Finally, he picked up the Bible and placed it under his arm. He picked up the silver dollar and dropped it into his pocket. He uncorked the bottle and took a big drink while he admired this month's centerfold. The old preacher whispered in horror, "He's going to be the next president." My 7-year-old son came in from school today and asked me, "Dad, what kind of mouse can walk on 2 legs?" I don't know," I replied. "Mickey Mouse," he replied laughing. "Dad, what kind of duck can walk on 2 legs?" "Donald Duck," I replied. "No, all ducks, you idiot." A man walks his dog late at night when he observes an obviously drunk guy. The guy stops at a parked car, swipes across the car's roof with his arm, and says, "Nope." He stumbles over to the next car, again swipes across the roof with his arm, and says, "Nope." This goes on for a while until, finally, the dog owner decides to ask the man what he is doing. Drunkard: "I'm searching for my car." Dog owner: "But you can't find your car by swiping your arm across the roof." "But I can," replies the drunkard with a heavy tongue. "My car has those flashy blue lights on top." John, a wealthy 60-year-old man, shows up at the country club one day with his new wife, a smoking hot 22-year-old blonde. His buddies are amazed. There is no way someone that young and attractive would agree to marry an old geezer like you. How did you pull it off? It's simple, John says. I lied to her about my age. Did you tell her you were 50? His friends ask. John shakes his head. There is no way she could believe you were 40. John shakes his head again. So how old did you tell her you were exactly? John smiles and says 85. A guy sits down in a diner and asks for a bowl of hot chili. The waitress says, Sorry, but the guy next to you got the last bowl. He looks over and sees that the guy's finished his meal, but the bowl of chili is still full. He asks, Are you going to eat that chili? The other guy says, No. Help yourself. He slides the bowl of chili over and starts to eat. When he gets about halfway down, his spoon hits something. He looks down, sees a dead mouse, and immediately pukes all the chili back into the bowl. The other guy says, Yeah, that's about as far as I got too. A man in a hot air balloon realized he was lost. He reduced his altitude and spotted a woman below. He descended a bit more and shouted, Excuse me, can you help me? I promised a friend I would meet him an hour ago, but I don't know where I am. The woman below replied, You are in a hot air balloon hovering approximately 30 feet above the ground. You are between 40 and 41 degrees north latitude and between 59 and 60 degrees west longitude. You must be a programmer, said the balloonist. I am, replied the woman. How did you know? Well, answered the balloonist, everything you told me is technically correct, but I have no idea what to make of your information, and the fact is I am still lost. Frankly, you've not been much help so far. The woman below responded, You must be a manager. I am, replied the balloonist. But how did you know? Well, said the woman, you don't know where you are or where you are going. You have reached where you are due to a large quantity of hot air. You made a promise which you have no idea how to keep, and you expect me to solve your problem. The fact is you are in exactly the same position you were in before we met, but now somehow, it's my fault. Mark says to John, Can you believe that an Arab millionaire saw my wife and told me that he would pay her weight in gold? John, I can't believe it. And what did you say? Mark, I asked him if he could wait a month. John, so you can think about it? Mark, no, to make her fat.